You guys are working, and I was watching this so intently, and I noticed it immediately. The pace is off the charts. Like there's that term that wrestlers use all the time, or saying, I should say, like, got to get all your shit in. And it like very much feels like that at the beginning here. We got to get to this. We got to get to this. Was it important to establish a pace that people can expect for this kind of match? Because they'd never seen anything like this.
Yeah, I think about for us, we didn't have in mind like establishing a certain pace. We wanted to establish from a standpoint that we wanted to get the ladders, and we wanted to put the ladders underneath the bag of money so we could win the match. You know, winning the match is something that is very important, especially it is key and kind of the nucleus of your entire psychology of whatever the match may be. So going back and watching it, and I've watched this match a few times in the last couple of days, our psychology was really strong. In the beginning, we go back and forth with Edge and Christian, we shut them down. We go after the ladders. They come out and stop us before we get to the ladders. And then they beat us up in the ring. They go to get theirs, and we stop them again before we get the ladders. And then following that, when we shut them down again, we ask Gangrel to get the ladders, which ultimately gets him kicked out. But our psychology in the very beginning was just meant to like, let's establish these guys all want to get the ladder because they want to climb and they want to win. So that was a simple psychology. And it truly was step one of many steps of like making this match work and suspending disbelief.
Now, Jeff, it takes until about probably 3 or 4 minutes in for Christian to do a running drop kick up the ladder onto you. And that's like the first real reaction of the match. Why do you think that was the moment where fans were like, oh, and they realized, okay, something different is happening here? And did you set it up that way?
Yeah, I think we all did. And speaking about pace, they were always like so good at that as far as making things build until the very end, the very climax of it all. But like when Christian gave me that drop kick off of that incline ladder, that's when I knew this is going to be awesome. This is what we were born to do. This is why Willow and Surge had all those crazy ladder matches in Omega, because it's happening in front of the world right now. And I'm so pumped. And it built from there, and it was beautiful.
And speaking of that, John, I just want to add like that is the first point. It's funny that you reference that, because ever since that match happened, that was the point where we said we had the audience, and we've always acknowledged that is where they started when they did that little tug of war with the ladder, and Christian backed Jeff into the corner and did the drop kick. That was the first big pop where people like really obnoxiously popped and reacted. And that continued to build on throughout the match. And the first standing ovation was your where you did the leg drop over the ladder.
Oh, we'll get to that.
As a catapult, which was amazing.
It was amazing, and I can't wait to get into that. But the thing is, and it's so important that we don't jump to that though, Matt, because for as much as they pop at the beginning for that spot by Christian there, drop kicking Jeff, they come back down again. And you guys it's almost like a tug of war with the audience in a way here. You end up getting power bombed off the ladder by Edge. And then Jeff hits a missile drop kick to Edge on the ladder. And my only question after watching that, seeing how the landings happened, was how grateful were you that WWE changed the rings not that long before this?
Very grateful, because I will tell you, we worked in those hard rings, and it's easy to understand why Shawn Michaels was forced to get back surgery, especially because he was a guy who took a lot of bumps. Those rings were brutal. They were like concrete, but they weren't built for guys like us. They weren't built for the current generation of pro wrestlers. They were built for, Earthquake and Typhoon and, Hogan's and Andre the Giant.
Sure.
They were built for giant.
Not for people like you guys.
And so they were built for guys who were 6'7", 6'8", 350, 400 pounds. No, for people like us, they were built for guys who were giants, which were in the 80s kind of like what dominated WWE. And now as the business, you have smaller guys, and we in the large day and age, but it was nice to have guys who actually feel a little more safe and bump a little more easily.